Ever since WWE transitioned into a PG product in 2008, certain WWE legends have been extremely critical in relation to what they think about the current day product. Some feel like the product has lost its way and it's too family friendly, or the wrestlers simply aren't good anymore. Additionally, some WWE legends feel like modern wrestlers are too soft, and some actually question their manhood. So with that being said, let's take a look at 10 WWE legends who hate today's WWE. Number 10, Bret Hart. Bret Hart, without a doubt, is one of the most decorated wrestlers of all time. Many wrestling fans and other wrestlers would go as far to say that Bret Hart is one of the greatest wrestlers to ever lace up a pair of boots. Although Bret worked through multiple eras, including being a key part in the start of the Attitude Era, he didn't have too many nice things to say about the current WWE product. Notably, Bret Hart has gone on record to criticize Seth Rollins. He called him unsafe and reckless and cited that he could have killed John Cena back in 2015 when he kneed him in the face and accidentally broke John Cena's nose. One of the other things Bret is often critical about is WWE's modern storytelling. In a 2018 interview with Talk Sports, Bret would state, "I think I was a better storyteller than any of the wrestlers they've got today. I watched WrestleMania this year and there's no drama anymore. They do some amazing stuff. There are some incredible athletes, but people don't know how to tell a story. Wrestling has its flows. It will change again as people get tired of the phony wrestling. I watched my match with Davey Boy with some journalists in a bar and they almost bought into it like it was real." Number 9, Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette has become one of the most vocal wrestling minds there is in relation to modern wrestling. He notably hates the majority of the content that AEW puts forward, and in relation to WWE, he doesn't seem to be a big fan of what they have to offer. Cornette believes that WWE seriously lacks any sense of realism. Speaking about his thoughts on the current WWE product on his podcast, Cornette would reveal, "It's just, you have to undo a lot of needless damage that's been done over the past few years where it's just silliness. Just effing silliness. We've talked about this. They have some of it on NXT, but the majority of it is on Raw, where grown adults, Otis or Tucky or whoever, grown adults act like children with the mentality of children, where they do and say things that nobody would ever do and say. And it's obviously all tongue-in-cheek. It's a sketch comedy on the level of hee-haw. And then they have matches where most of the guys do the same shit as everybody else, and it's just on this program, they all look physically better and they're better trained, but they're not doing anything with grit or realism to it." Number 8, Kevin Nash. Although Kevin Nash is close friends with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, the two men who practically run NXT, this doesn't mean that the former WWE champion does not hold back when it comes to his thoughts on the current day product. Nash believes that the main problem with modern WWE is the lack of selling in matches. Appearing on the hashtag show, Nash would reveal, "Nobody sells shit. To me, it's just nobody sells anything. To us, it was always sell and get double downs and the falses. And now the guys are kicking out on one with moonsaults. I also don't want to be the guy, but I remember guys that were our agents when we broke in saying, 'Kid, we used to do 60 minutes through, and you watch 60 minutes through and they're in headlocks for 48 minutes of it.' Everything evolves. I think sometimes that the women have better psychology than the guys do." Number 7, Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner is one of the more unhinged wrestling legends there is. Steiner has a strange vendetta against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, which appeared to surface from when Steiner and Triple H worked together in 2003. Nevertheless, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Steiner's thoughts on the current WWE product are extremely negative. Steiner has often targeted WWE management as well as criticized the current WWE storytelling that is on to offer. This is what Steiner had to say a few years ago in relation to WWE's products. "That PG shit is hard to watch. It doesn't make sense. You've got South Park serving up a storm. You've got all these shows. Wrestling was the first natural reality show. We created that genre. That was reality TV live. It started with Raw in the Manhattan Center." Number 6, Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson currently has the role on AEW TV as Cody Rhodes' manager. However, Anderson isn't a current fan of the WWE product, in particular when it comes to Bad Bunny. Discussing his dislike for any segments involving the 24/7 champion, Arn Anderson would state, "I don't know anything about Bad Bunny. If they're not big fans, what are they doing on our show? Wrestling fans are dedicated to a wrestling show and wrestlers. They're not there to see Hollywood stars or anything of that nature. It's an aggravation to them when they don't know who it is. If I don't know who it is, I just watch their performance on the show and critique it for what it is. Wrestling fans get pissed because it's downtime. The celebrities that we've had over the years had nothing to do with wrestling whatsoever, and you can just see it from the fans. The fact is, there's a place. It's called the rest of the world that's not America. And if he's a big star, there's probably a reason for it." Number 5, Randy Orton. Randy Orton, despite being an active member of the WWE roster, is extremely vocal when he doesn't like something about the product. He has been extremely critical in the past when it comes to NXT, stating that there's more style than substance on the show. Orton would further go on to explain this during a media call in 2020 what his issues were with the current NXT product. The former WWE champion would reveal, "The NXT guys worry me because I see them doing such high physical things during their matches. They do so many physical impressive things, but those things are dangerous and they wear and tear on your career. I've been doing this for 20 years and I'll do it for another decade. I just turned 40 and my plan would be to keep going until my 50th birthday. I think that I will be able to do that and I will be able to support my family for 30 years of wrestling under Vince McMahon because of the way that I tell stories in the ring. The facial expressions, the little transitional things that you do on the fly, or the ad-lib during a match, those are the things that people remember." Number 4, Taz and Jim Ross. Jim Ross in particular has been extremely open to share his thoughts about wrestling in general. Even now, as an AEW broadcaster, he will often state publicly if the company is doing something he dislikes. In relation to WWE, JR and his broadcast colleagues Taz believe that the NXT product is weak in comparison to the product that AEW offers on a weekly basis. On the AEW post-show last year, the two would have an exchange where they discussed the AEW product. They stated, and this comes from JR, "This is going to sound like real ass kissing, but why is there even a choice on Wednesday nights? DVR NXT, watch it later, our shit is better. I'm proud of being able to say that. It is not a defiance, it is just reality." And then Taz would reply saying, "I don't remember the last time I even watched their show. That's no bullshit. I really don't give a rat's ass about it." Number 3, Eric Bischoff. Former WCW president Eric Bischoff has an interesting viewpoint in relation to the current WWE product. The 2021 Hall of Fame inductee states that the problem with the product is that there is simply too much of it. In the following extract, Bischoff discusses the current WWE product as well as addresses the claims from former WWE superstar Eric Young, who claims that the WWE system is broken. Bischoff stated, "I think the system is challenged for sure. I wouldn't say it's broken, but I definitely think there's a challenge here. In a way, I think that WWE has become a victim of their own success. I firmly believe that. They're producing so much wrestling, just the sheer volume of it and the work that goes into it doesn't provide a lot of opportunity to engage in creative conversations with talent." Number 2, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan isn't actually openly critical about WWE's product. Instead, he's offered criticism towards the WWE locker room. He's claimed that some of the younger members of the roster are cold and that he believes that they think he's trying to come in for their spot on the card. Hogan, not being the most self-aware human being in the world, fails to realize that his racist comments may be the reason that the locker room is cold to him, and it has nothing to do with them being insecure in relation to their spot on the card. Hogan would even state, "The newer kids, I don't think they know who I am all the way." And number 1, we have The Undertaker. The Undertaker almost broke the internet in early 2021 when he revealed his thoughts on the current WWE product as well as his thoughts on the locker room. Appearing on Joe Rogan's podcast, The Undertaker would call the WWE product and the current locker room soft. He would go on to say, I remember walking into my first real dressing room and all I saw were some crusty effing men. Half of them had guns and knives in their bags. Shit got handled back then. Now you walk in and there's guys playing video games and making sure they look pretty. It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I like those eras, man. I like the era when the men were men. These comments didn't sit well with a lot of top WWE talent. Roman Reigns would publicly defend WWE and the locker room during an interview with Sports Illustrated and stated, "We do the same job. It's not like the bumps got any worse or any better. You're always hearing a dropkick was a finish back in my day. A dropkick is the second move you see in a wrestling match nowadays. We're doing a lot more, and sometimes I think that we're a lot more physical. And because the audience has seen so much more, we have to do a little more in order to pique their interest, in order to show them something different. What we call a false finish, a pin that people believe will be the final move of a match, we go through those like Steamboat and Savage. You'll see that on a SmackDown. You'll see 15 false finishes on a SmackDown." And that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Here's some other top 10s you could check out, and here's a totally unrelated random video if you want to check that one out too. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.